Welcome to the ChrissieCast. The madness has already begun. And I welcome back to the microphone because I made him come. It's Dave Thornton.
It's good to be here this morning with your linen blaze on.
Thank you. It was one of those ones where you're in Country Road and it's like clearance sale, end of the season.
Oh, yeah.
Take half off what's already half off. This cost me $40.
You can't get the materials for that.
You can't get the buttons for that.
Please.
Thornton.
You'd be stupid not to buy that.
I've rushed into this conversation and I'm annoyed because I was going to introduce the great Dave Thornton, second place getter in 2005's glittering green faces.
I've still got that trophy at home.
What does it look like?
It just makes me laugh. It was an open mic comedy competition in Canberra that no one cared about.
20 years ago.
I came second and I've got the trophy. It's just the most obscure thing to have.
Is it a big pickle? What is green faces?
I think the green was the fact that we're all new.
Oh, of course.
So green face is like a greenhorn.
Yes.
And to no one's surprise, the trophy is the two faces of drama, one smiling, one sad. The two masks of performance.
Oh, the tears of a clown.
Yeah, so it's the dichotomy of man.
Did you used to think that was a really good trick, this one?
Oh, yeah, the smiling and
then...
Did it for my girls when I was... Isn't it funny? Your kid's like 18 months old, 2 years old, thinks you're a genius. And then there's a moment where they're like, yeah, I get it.
It's just your hand.
Yeah, and it falls off a cliff and you're like, oh, man, that was crushing.
Did they believe Got Your Nose?
I didn't do a lot of Got Your Nose.
I did Got Your Nose once on Leo and he was so distraught that I never did it again.
Oh,
I was
Mum,
just
what are you
like,
doing?
what am I doing? Why am I traumatising my beautiful baby?
You know, because Leo, he seems like just a cracking guy. I've still not met him. But the way that you deliver it to him, in my mind, he's always been like that. Like he's 18 months old going, Mum, what are you doing? That's stupid. Why would you take my nose off my face?
Can I tell you? I think he always has been that way. You know, sometimes you're looking for a photo and you might search tacos or, you know, you've got a vague memory of what it is. I think he's looking for a garage.
Yeah.
Anyway, it popped up a photograph of him. He may have been 3 years old and I had sent that. So the text messages come up that you've sent, you know, between you and your kids. And I'd sent it to him. The photograph of him as a baby. So I'd obviously sent it to him when he was a bit older. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, look how cute. And he goes, I miss my uncomplicated life, which means that
life was simpler.
That was before Kit and Peg came along. He's always like, that was the best time of my life. Remember? Right? Anyway, I looked at the year that was, he was 7 years old. When he sent that text message to me, my uncomplicated life.
Before the world. It was on my shoulders and crushed the man you see before. How old is he now?
16.
Yeah. So, out in this crazy world. Back then, things were simpler. You could just... You know, you had 500 megabyte to work over the week on the internet, and then when that ran out, you can go out and play. Now in this crazy high-speed world, I don't know.
First of all, he wanted to take my Woody from Toy Story, and now I yell at him to close the door.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God. Simple times.
I could say so much about Leo, but I forget that it's not just you and me and that, you know, I might embarrass him. I've got to be careful.
Yeah,
You've got to be careful about your girls too, what you give away.
Yeah, you do got to get a bit of that. But then it's funny what your mum has in her back pocket, in that my mum sent me a photo recently where I went, she said, what are you up to? And I said, and I was doing a corporate gig, so I was in a full suit and I was a bit like, you know, have a look at this. Your boy's doing all right. Because it was black tie night, so I was like, oh, look, I'm all dressed up, Bats. And she shot me back a photo of me when I went to the Geelong Cup, which happens every year. I believe it's a lead up to Spring Carnival in Melbourne, and it's on a Wednesday because I remember because my dad used to get drunk midweek, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." And
what year was this?
1999. Do you know why I know it's that year?
Why?
It was the same year the Fight Club came out. Remember that? Edward Norton, Brad Pitt, and I obviously liked the character of Brad Pitt, who was I don't want to ruin it for anyone.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, but a figment of, Ed Norton's imagination. And
it's a magical film.
It's a magical film. Still pretty good. I mean, there's some problematic bits, but whatever.
Of course.
And one of them isn't Brad Pitt with his shirt off. Am I right, Chrissie?
That is never a problem.
Holy shit! What a good-looking man.
I'm not into looks that much.
Right.
But I can appreciate Brad Pitt of almost all actors on the big screen. You just can't deny the beauty. Like, have you seen him recently in Thelma and Louise? Have you seen him?
I haven't watched Thelma and Louise recently, no, but I know the imagery you're talking about.
When we first saw him, when us civilians, us ordinary folk, saw him, I mean, we could not believe our eyes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I bring it up because I, obviously in homage to him, I was going to the Geelong Cup.
Oh, God.
I had
an IKEA catalogue under your arm?
I'm going to start from the top and just paint a picture for everyone because I had glasses on, but the glass was yellow, so it was like
oh my God, of course.
They were like aviators, but the actual glass was yellow.
Yes.
So it kind of, I guess, looked a bit like Bono, but he's a purple, I guess. All right. Anyway, so we're moving down.
He had yellow ones too, I think.
Okay, great. Yeah, probably in the Zooropa.
Yeah, God, that's a great album.
Then I had a bow tie on, but I didn't have a shirt. I had a T-shirt
bow tie.
on.
What colour was the bow tie?
The bow tie, if memory serves in the photo, I think it was like a crushed burgundy velvet.
Did it match a cummerbund?
No, there was no cummerbund. Because this was the thing. I was like, hey, who knows what this kid's serving up? Because the suit was obviously from the Salvation boutique, and it was a 70s suit that was kind of grey with a vague pinstripe, but it would have cost me $3 or something in the Salvos with flares. But I had a T-shirt on, so the bow tie was over a T-shirt. In the 90s.
What were you thinking? What's going on there in little Dave's head?
Just being a cool cat, mate.
The funny guy.
Funny guy.
Doesn't matter what I wear.
Yeah, please. Who knows what this guy's going to wear? But this is the cherry on the sundae. I was wearing 10-pin bowling shoes that I'd remembered I'd nicked from the local bowling alley. So those ones, and they were red and yellow. So they looked like Ronald McDonald shoes. And I was standing there, and obviously Mum had gone, we should get a photo. And I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't you have this for posterity? Not knowing that she's like, I don't think you think I'm taking it for the reasons that you want me to take it for.
Well, she's like, I've got to get a photo. And then do you remember that moment of her just going,
mate, what was I thinking? She shot it back far too quickly. And I was like, what? She's like, oh, you've always looked good in a suit. And I was like, oh, rightio. And it was me.
Can you take us back
to what I was thinking?
Yeah, because like I look at photographs of shit that I've worn as well and just gone, oh my God, what was I thinking? But it was fashionable. You know, like
yeah, I don't think this ever was.
There was a stage of like 8 hair ties in a row on your head, and I mean I did it all.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a look.
But I don't think anyone was getting out in that get-up.
No, I can't blame the community at large or whatever styles are going on. I thought, I'm going rogue here. And Mum went, yeah, you are, aren't you, champion?
What years were you at school? So when did you start and finish?
Let's do the math on this. Born December 79.
Yep, so you probably started in 84.
I say if you don't remember the 70s, what a great time. So yeah, it would have been 84, 85.
And you graduated?
Primary school in, I think.
No, high school.
Yeah, primary school 91, started high school 92 and believe I finished in 97.
Okay,
right.
Big years.
Big years.
You were finishing, God, there's a big age difference between us.
When did you finish high school?
In 91. So when you were finishing primary school, I was finishing high school.
Yeah, no, we wouldn't have. I would have known who you were. You would have had no idea who I was because you always look at the bigger kids.
Yeah.
You go, Chrissie Swan. Yeah, of course. She was like captain of like a Blue House, and it would have been huge.
It was Yellow House.
Or was it Yellow?
Digby, named after Mother Mabel Digby. Only in primary school though. By the time I got to high school, I was like, everyone can get fucked.
Oh yeah. Were you?
I'm not even. Yeah, I just wasn't interested. I wasn't that great at high school.
Do you reckon if times were different, you would have been an emo? Were you that bad, or were you?
No, I just wanted out.
Yeah, fair enough.
I loved it at school. I loved my friends.
Yeah.
But I was ready for it. I was ready for a change.
I'm out, babes.
Yeah.
You're on the menthols. You're out of here.
And I keep on saying to Leo, who's in year 11, don't stuff it up like I did. If you can possibly just go 2 years. I've got 2 years left, 2 years out of the rest of my life. If I can just play the game for 2 years, I'll set myself up for the best chance with whatever I'm going to do.
I thought you would have come out. Your grades would have been good. I thought you would have been good in high school.
They were fine. They could have been a lot better. I found studying very, very hard. Very hard. And I remember there was a girl in my class, Kath Cobser, who was just a great studier. Her brain was just designed for it. Yeah. And she would just study and learn. And I would just watch her and think, oh, my God. And I had to make up weird ways to trick myself into remembering stuff. It was terrible. My favourite part of any school day, of course, was coming in to the house and there was no one home. My sisters are much older than me and had moved out, gone. And I would basically park myself at the toaster and eat half to a full loaf of Bornhofen with margarine, Flora, and watch Now You See It. Do you remember Now You See It?
Do I what?
I would watch The Brady Bunch still.
Geez, that got a huge run. A lot of shows, they got decades out of shows.
Decades.
Like it's funny that I think MASH is still just holding on for dear life, but
MASH was always too sort of serious for me.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You know, I loved I Dream of Jeannie. I loved Bewitched.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it sounds like I'm talking like I grew up in the 50s. This is the 90s. And they were still on television, those shows.
But I don't know how. I've got memories of I Love Lucy. I don't know when it was on. Like I know.
Yes, it was on.
You would go, okay, we're doing this. Why do I, as an 8-year-old in Australia, know Desi Arnaz? Why do I know that?
Have you seen the documentary on Lucy and Desi on one of the streamers? You got some splendid door.
Yes, all of those different strokes would get a run.
Different strokes. Let's talk about that.
It takes different strokes. It takes.
Now, please start it from the beginning. Now the world don't move to the beat of just one drum. What might be right for you may not be right for some. A man is born, he's a man of means. Speaking of Mr. Drummond in that line.
Oh, please. And that was the time when they found Gary Coleman.
Yeah.
A guy who was 30 but had some, was it like...
Well, he wasn't 30 then. And I thought that was true as well. But I hate to say it again because I have on a previous podcast said I don't get to see anything. I have watched, of all things, in the last 12 months, a documentary on Gary Coleman. And it is alarming and interesting and sad.
I could imagine, yeah.
But he was, when he played, what's his name?
What'd you do, mate, Willis? What was his name? God, now I only remember him as Gary Coleman. But then when I was watching it, I wouldn't have even known his name as Gary Coleman.
Why can't we remember? What's wrong with us?
I know. Are you IMDbing it? Because
yes. We're going to scream when we...
There's people listening to this now screaming at us.
Screaming.
Going, how could you not remember?
Gary Coleman. Arnold. It just came to me.
Arnold, well played.
So Arnold, when he was playing Arnold, how old do you think Arnold was when he first was adopted by the single white guy? Maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Gary Coleman might have been 11.
But then they realised he had whatever it was.
Or maybe like 14.
Because what was it? I'd say glands, and that's me having a stab at it.
I feel like it was a kidney issue.
And then so he just...
And it's just stunted his growth.
It stunted his growth.
Yeah.
And that set a precedent in the 80s, remember, because there was Webster, but they found another kid that wouldn't grow, and they went, this is perfect. It's like a cartoon. They never have to grow up again, which you think, oh, that hurts a little bit. And I think it was off the back of Tattoo from Fantasy Island, where they're like, can we just find little people who won't grow? And you're like, God, this was the 80s.
And people still do that. Like, if something works for somebody, a storyline, a character, a vibe, a setting, a location, You bet your bottom dollar that the competing networks will be scrambling to do the same. It still happens.
Mate, when I was first starting to do media,
Yeah.
because Hamish and Andy, and they are still amazing.
Amazing.
They were like, have you got a best mate? Have you got a friend you grew up with? You studied with him? And I'm like, well, yeah, I've got mates. I don't know if they want to do this. Like, do you know?
It's been done, guys.
Like, you have to.
It's been done.
Find it. and you're right.
It's like Veruca Salt's dad. I'm trying, Veruca. I'm trying my hardest.
You really are. Like, if something works in every way, shape or form, in any company as well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Tesla comes along and everyone's like, make an electric car.
Yeah, I know.
There is just
But
companies that
when
don't
will
work.
human beings realise that once it's been done, it's been done?
Yeah,
Like
and
that's the novelty. The first one, I mean, look at RC Cola. Do you remember RC Cola?
yeah, do you know what?
AC Cola? RC Cola?
I think it was RC in America. It was AC for us.
There's
AC Cola.
only one Coke. Like,
Yeah. Although,
Pepsi's done a good job.
we do digress now, but I saw the documentary about the Backstreet Boys. There's a great documentary about their manager.
What? I'm writing that down.
I can't remember what it's called.
I want it that way.
Mate, their manager, wow, what an interesting cat. But
Tell me the story. Can you give it to me in a nutshell?
I'll give it to you in a nutshell.
Was he villainous?
this doesn't ruin anything. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on. But obviously, recruited these boys in Florida, in Orlando, made the Backstreet Boys.
Were they friends or were they strangers like One Direction?
There's a bit of, they kind of knew each other. There were kind of connections,
Okay.
like loose connections. But I only bring it up because he, and I've got to give him credit for
Sorry
this.
to interrupt again. Which ones? So NSYNC is Justin Timberlake. Who are the big? Oh, the Backstreet Boys. The blonde guy.
Yeah, the blonde guy.
Nick
Yes.
Carter.
Carter, thank you very much.
Yeah, right. Got it.
But I'm so glad you brought that up because he thought, once he made the Backstreet Boys, he goes, hang on a second, for Coke there's always Pepsi. For,
Yes.
for Ford, I guess in Australia there's Holden. But he thought, well, there's going to be a competitor. I might as well make the competitor. He made NSYNC because he goes, well, then they can go at each other. And you know who wins in the end? I do. So he made both of them.
He made
Yeah.
what he
created Backstreet
he
Boys.
Simon Cowelled 2 boy bands.
Yeah. And then went, have a go. Whoever comes out of this on top, you're the winner. I'm the winner.
That is very interesting. I did see a documentary once about the kind of science of putting together. I don't know if it's the same for girl bands, but definitely for boy bands. They cast the roles and you can see them very clearly. If I had in front of me, or you, the 5 faces of NSYNC, the 5 faces of Backstreet Boys, of all of them, One Direction.
Yep.
They all have the same roles. There's the bad guy, and that appeals to a certain girl. There's basically someone for everyone.
Here's an interesting
There's
psychological
the sweet,
assessment.
slightly ugly one.
Who are you, do you think? Who do you think you would be attracted to?
I like the main character energy. So I was too old for it, but I would have been a Justin Timberlake fan and I would have been a Harry Styles fan if I was of that.
Yeah, because
age.
Robbie Williams was the bad boy. And then there was, what's his name now?
See, I do love Gary Barlow.
See, Gary Barlow. Right, so you're
Yeah, and out of Beverly Hills 90210, I was Brandon, not Dylan.
Jason
Dylan's
Priestley.
the bad guy. Yeah, I was a Jason Priestley girl.
Good head of hair. Yeah, okay. You weren't David Austin Green?
Was anyone? Brian Austin Green, I think you'll find.
Oh, sorry, but wasn't his character named David?
David.
Yeah, sorry about that. I've melted them all together.
I mean, speaking of somebody like Gary Coleman playing a much younger role than his age would indicate. Do you remember Gabrielle? Gabby, I think it was. I think her name was Gabby on Beverly Hills 90210. Her surname was Carteris. She was like the nerdy one. She would have been tugging on 50 then and trying to pass off as a peer of Shannon Doherty.
Oof. That is I mean, a lot of them, it was... You look back at it now and you go, I can't believe they were trying to sell us that these were 16-year-olds.
God, I love that show.
I mean, yeah. Oh, 90210.
Simpler times.
Different strokes, though. What a strange... I mean, you look at it, slightly problematic now. There was just a rich guy that was like, found these inner city kids.
Yeah.
And everyone went, how wacky's that? What an idea.
And we were all just like, yeah, that's fine. It's normal. A rich, single, white, old man
Yeah, who just
hosting 2 primary school children. It's very odd.
Very
and
odd.
The story behind it, you would love it. You would love this doco. I can't think what it's called. Just search Gary Coleman. But he was an unbelievably talented kid before Different Strokes. So he begged his mum to do acting classes, and he begged his mum to do the shopping centre catwalk. And his first job was he was in a 3-piece suit in a shopping centre fashion parade.
Wow.
And there's footage of it, and he's strutting down the catwalk. He's extraordinary. He would have been about 8 years old. Unbelievably talented. So, of course, he was snapped up by a network. And he did an ad before Different Strokes. So the genesis was, a few bits of advertising, a proper TV ad where, he ate peanut butter and said, wow, this is great. And then, he got this TV show. But he was a serious performer, a proper performer.
Yeah, okay.
And yet he was making bank for so many television execs by being Arnold.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to be Arnold anymore. But they were like, no, you're Arnold and you'll keep on being Arnold. And then he got older and more bitter. And it's a very interesting story. You'd love it.
I mean, some of those guys in that time, I know Michael J. Fox. What did I see recently where they were saying he was making... What was this? Not Family Matters.
Family Ties.
Family Ties,
and
thank you.
Back to the Future at the same time.
Same time. That was the doco I saw. And it's like, my God, this guy was getting flogged.
Flogged.
Yeah. While he's sitting there trying to be...
And I believe his Parkinson's disease had already begun to surface at that young age when he was... filming.
I mean, it couldn't have helped, all that workload.
No.
I don't care what you've got. Like, I don't know Parkinson's and how it comes on, but you're like, yeah, but being exhausted doesn't help any.
It wouldn't help.
Situation.
That was one of my favourite films, and, the trilogy. And he was really my first love, Michael J. Fox. In fact, I was just looking at it this morning, diary, where I've got a collage, montage, monument to my love of Michael J. Fox.
I mean, he's...
that I've cut out of the TV guide.
5'3", something like that? Like, he's tiny.
I know. But I would have only been about 12 or something at the time. Still 5'10", but... and one of my favourite tidbits, because, you get a bit... If you've got a favourite film, you naturally know more about that than other films.
Of course.
So Michael J. Fox, stop me if you've heard this, Michael J. Fox was not the first person cast in that role.
Yes, I have heard this.
And Eric Stoltz was cast in it. Not only was he cast in it, he began filming.
But wasn't he so high maintenance? Was that the reason?
He was high maintenance and he just wasn't right. And is it Spielberg? I mean, I know it's definitely Robert Zemeckis. But anyway... They kept on looking at the first few scenes where the DeLorean comes in and, it's out of time and all of that. And they kept on looking at it going, it's just not right. It's just not working. But you can see the exact same scenes with Marty McFly played by Eric Stoltz and then Michael J. Fox. I find that fascinating.
Because Eric Stoltz was he took himself very seriously.
He did. And he ended up, I don't know whether it was before or after Back to the Future, but he played the title role of Mask, which was a really serious, heavy film about... a guy that was dealing with a facial disfigurement.
Yes,
it was a
Mask.
proper thespy sort of.
Yeah, one of those ones where I've really got to get into this role.
Have you ever been second choice?
Oh, I'm sure I have.
Like, have you ever known that you wouldn't, the first person's passed this over and I'll take that, please?
Probably to my partner. Still sits at home thinking, oh, what could have been? Who knows how this goes? I don't know if I've ever, I don't know if I've consciously had that. Have you?
No, but I have. The reverse has happened. I've seen a few, jobs that I've had to knock back because I can't do them schedule-wise or interest-wise, and then I've seen who's got them. But I don't call them up and go, ha ha,
loser.
You got my slops. Speaking of slops, before you go, I want to ask you, food-wise, because I'm entering and have entered for some time my hosting core phase, which means that I'm really enjoying, having people to my home and cooking them.
That's nice.
Dinner, and then there's no one's bringing the bill and wrap it up and all of that. You can just really take your time with your magical friends.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to kick you out. If you came over to my house,
here we go,
and I could cook you anything at all, what would it be? And this is anything. Like, you could go, I'd like a turducken, or I'd like Peking duck, or I'd like...
I want fried dodo. Make it happen.
Like fondue. Do you know what I mean? Like anything you...
Fondue.
I've actually never had fondue.
I mean, fondue has a connotation of a certain kind of party. I'm not sure I'm up
it does.
for that,
Yeah, let me get
honest.
my keys. Yeah.
Oh, you've got Cinzano out, do you? Here we go. Oh, this is nice.
Tahiti looks nice. Imperial leather soap. What?
What's that lava lamp doing over there?
Is there something your mum used to make in the 80s that is sort of trash, but you miss it in your sauerkraut household?
I mean, for us, because I feel like you'd be good with like rich food, and like a matriciana or something like that would be like a pasta. It's like, you know what I mean? You've got there's spice and there's bacon and there's
and it's like if you put that sauce in a clear plastic container, that clear plastic container is never going to be clear again. That's how you know it is a great sauce. Well, next time I see you will not be in this podcast studio. I think that I have invited you to come and talk to me far too many times in here. Next time we'll do it in my house.
We go on acoustic.
Yeah,
we're not doing electric anymore.
Offline.
Yeah, offline. F to F.
And that is it for this episode of the ChrissieCast. Massive thanks to the gorgeous Dave Thornton, a superstar, and let's be real, probably the nicest comedian in the game. Now, before you dash off, make sure you're following the podcast, and why don't you hit us up on Instagram? There's going to be some gorgeous happy snaps of us there if you want. I still don't think I'm at 10,000 followers, but anyway. See you next time for more laughs and great chats, and as they say on Love Island, bants.
Oh no, a bit of bants.
A bit of bants. Bants is good. Tits are great.